You didn't dream of being back there, no kid does. You probably wanted to hit home runs, maybe pitch, be the one everyone watches. But then someone didn't show up. The coach looked around and pointed. "You," he said. "Put this on." It wasn't a choice, it was a moment, one you didn't understand until later. The gear was clunky and smelled like rust and old sweat. The helmet felt like a cage. The shin guards kept knocking together. You waddled behind the plate like someone playing dress-up in armor that didn't fit. And the first time a ball skipped in the dirt, it hit you in the chest and knocked the wind out of you. Everyone laughed. But you kept catching. Because something clicked. You weren't just playing anymore. You were involved. Every play, every pitch. The game couldn't start without you. You weren't the star. You were the one holding everything together, quietly, in the dirt. You learned to crouch for hours without complaining. You learned how to absorb hits without flinching. You learned how to throw from your knees when someone took off running. And when your team needed someone to guide the game, suddenly they all looked at you. You started to see the field differently. While others chased highlights, you chased control. You watched how great players back there never looked rushed, how they made tough plays look simple, and how they guided the people around them without saying much at all. They weren't loud. They were steady. You stopped caring about glory. You started caring about rhythm, about timing, about giving a signal and watching it come to life. You didn't know it then, but the mask wasn't just something you wore. It became part of who you were. The person who absorbs blame, who manages chaos, who shows up game after game knowing most people won't remember your name. But pitchers remember, coaches remember, the people in the dirt, they know. And still you stayed quiet. You crouched, you blocked, you called the shots behind the scenes, and when the game ended, you took your gear off in silence while everyone else high-fived. You didn't need the spotlight, you just needed the next pitch. You're part of every moment, but most people barely notice you. And that's the hardest part. You could spend an entire game making perfect decisions, keeping everything in check, and not a single person would say your name. But the second something goes wrong, everyone suddenly remembers who you are. That missed ball, your fault. That runner stealing second, you should have reacted faster. That pitch that got too much of the plate, you called it, didn't you? So you learn to live with being invisible until you mess up. You're more than just the one catching the ball. You're a quiet leader. You study everyone, not just the opposing team, but your own pitcher. Some guys are quiet, some need a pep talk, others want a clear plan and zero distractions. It's your job to know what each person needs and when. You guide people without being loud. You calm people without saying much. And you take the blame when it goes wrong. The job doesn't end when the game starts. It begins. You think 3 steps ahead? Who's on base? Who's up next? What's the score? How much energy your pitcher has left? And what kind of mood the umpire's in. You give a signal, and suddenly the next 10 seconds of the game rest on what you decided. No time to hesitate, no time to doubt. But when the decision is right, someone else gets the credit. The pitcher, the infielder, the highlight reel. When it's wrong, you get the stares. That's the deal. You throw your body in front of bad throws, you dive to stop wild ones. You take hit after hit from balls bouncing off the dirt. You get knocked in the knees, the arms, the face, and you keep going. Because that's the job. Show up, take the pain, keep the game moving. And when someone takes off running, it's on you. You throw from a crouch through a maze of moving arms and legs, trying to be perfect with a split-second reaction, get them out, and nobody says a word. Miss by an inch, and they replay it 10 times in slow motion. You remember watching the great ones, how they moved like they already knew what was coming. How they stayed calm when the game spun out of control. How they made pitchers trust them with more than just the ball. That's what you wanted. Not attention, not fame, just respect. But respect doesn't come easy here. Not in this spot. Not when you're the only person on the field expected to be perfect, while also expected to clean up everyone else's mess. And that's the part no one gets. You don't just play, you carry. But nobody sees that, unless you drop it. You don't remember when it started hurting. It just became part of the routine. Maybe your knees felt stiff one morning. Maybe your thumb started throbbing after a throw. Maybe you took one too many bad bounces off your arm and decided to stop flinching. Whatever it was, the pain didn't come all at once. It crept in slowly, quietly, like it was here to stay. Your legs ache after every game. You ice both knees even if nothing feels wrong, just in case. You bend over the sink and your back locks up. You lift your arms too fast and feel a sharp pinch in your shoulder. But you don't say anything. You don't sit out. Because someone has to be behind the plate. And it's always been you. You take hits to places no one can see. Foul balls find the soft parts. Your wrist, your collarbone, the spot just above your knee pad. Your hands sting for hours after a game. You wake up and your fingers barely bend. But when it's time to gear up, you move like everything's fine. Because that's what you do. You show up. You know how easy it is for someone to replace you. There's always a younger catcher in camp. Always someone with fresh legs and a clean uniform. And the moment you ask for a break, someone's ready to take your spot. Maybe for good. So you play hurt. You don't even call it hurt anymore. You call it normal. But here's the strange part. Even while your body breaks down, your brain gets sharper. You start to see the game differently. You read people better. You notice little details. A batter shifting in the box, a pitcher's breathing getting quicker, the twitch of a runner's leg just before he goes. You catch those things now. Instinct. Experience. Pain didn't dull your vision, it cleared it. You begin to call smarter games. Not safer. Smarter. You take risks that make sense. You feel when a pitch will work, even if the chart says otherwise. You use the umpire's habits to your advantage. You pick up on signs the other team doesn't even know they're giving off. The best part? You don't have to say a word, a glance, a signal, a small adjustment in how you set up. And just like that, the game shifts. You remember watching veterans, guys who weren't fast anymore, who didn't throw the hardest, who couldn't hit like they used to, but who controlled everything. They made the game feel slow, manageable, like they were in charge, even when they weren't the ones holding the ball. You understand now what that takes? You train different these days. You don't lift to get big, you lift to stay standing. You stretch for survival. You build routines not to get stronger, but to last longer. Because you know every game takes a little piece of you. And you don't know how many pieces you've got left. You still take pride in the job. You still love the challenge. The moment when it's late in the game and everything's on the line and your pitcher looks lost. He glances at you and waits for the signal. That's the part that keeps you going. Not the cheers, not the stats, just that one look. That moment where someone needs you to know what to do, and you do. There's a wordless respect that comes with that. Not loud, not obvious, but real. And yeah, you're sore every day. Yeah, you limp sometimes when no one's looking, and yeah, maybe your hands are a little slower now, but your mind? Sharper than ever. You lead from the shadows. That's how it works. No big speech, no spotlight, no camera following your every move, just quiet control. You're the one who holds it together when the scoreboard's tight and the crowd's loud. And yet most people don't even realize you're the one making the decisions. You decide the pace, you decide the pitch, you read the situation, the hitter, the moment. You give the sign, and everything flows from there. The pitcher may throw it, but you're the one steering the ship. You know when to speed things up, when to slow them down. You know when a break is needed, not just physically, but mentally. You've seen pitchers start to fall apart. You know the look in their eyes when they're rattled, and you're the one who has to fix it. You jog out to the mound, say something short, maybe funny, maybe calm, and bring them back to earth. No one hears what you say. No one ever will. But if it works, everyone thinks the pitcher just settled down. If it doesn't, well, that's on you. You talk to the umpire too. Not just about calls, about rhythm. You build a relationship that helps your team, even if no one notices. You give him a moment after a foul ball. You don't show him up after a bad call. It's politics, it's respect, it's strategy, and it matters. The game moves fast for everyone else, not for you. You see it in slow motion, you notice a hitter crowding the plate, you see the wind shift, you feel the weight of the moment building pitch by pitch, and you carry it without anyone asking if you're tired. You remember watching the legends, catchers who didn't say much but who never lost control. How they held the team in place with a look, how they made pitchers feel safe just by being there, how they handled pressure like it was nothing. That's what you aim for, that's the bar. But nobody calls you the leader. That word's safe for someone who hits the big shot or makes the diving play. You're the one who plans the whole thing, who sees 5 steps ahead, who builds the moment, and then fades into the background. You don't ask for credit, you don't get any. You just keep going. Because the game can fall apart in seconds. And if it does, you'll be the one expected to hold it together. Even if no one sees you doing it. You don't get a proper goodbye. There's no final cheer, no camera zoom, no moment of silence for your body quietly breaking down. One day you're suiting up, same as always. Then one day, you're not. It happens slowly. You crouch a little slower. Your throws don't carry like they used to. Your knees talk back more than they ever did. You feel it before anyone else does. That creeping sense that your time back there is running out. But you stay quiet, like you always have. Eventually, the younger guy starts getting more reps. He's fast, energetic, injury-free. You show him the ropes, where to stand, how to read the batter's eyes, when to visit the mound, and when to let things burn. You teach him the things no one taught you, and he nods, like he gets it. But you know he won't fully understand until it's his body in the ice tub, his back tightening before game time, his name missing from the lineup card. You don't hate him. How could you? He's just you, but earlier. And when they finally sit you down and tell you it's time, you already knew. You smile, you nod, you thank them. Then you pack your gear for the last time. Slow, like it matters. Because it does. After baseball, everything feels quiet. You still love the game. But watching it is different. You notice things others don't. Small movements, signs, habits. You see a catcher shift his weight too early and miss a call. You watch a pitcher unravel and wish someone would jog out and calm him down. You want to say, I've been there, but no one asks. So you coach. You pass it on. You show a kid how to block a ball with his chest and how to stop wincing. You teach patience, stillness, timing. But most of all, you teach invisibility. How to do everything right without expecting anyone to notice. And late at night, you remember moments no one else does. You remember the throw you made to second that saved the inning. You remember the foul ball that nearly cracked your mask. And the fact that you didn't flinch. You remember calling the perfect pitch when your pitcher had nothing left in the tank. And he got the strike. You remember how it felt when he looked at you and nodded. A quiet thank you that only 2 people ever knew happened. So why does it suck to be a catcher? Because you give everything. Your body, your brain, your time, your silence. And at the end of it all, most people won't even remember you were there. But some will. The ones who mattered, the ones who needed you, the ones who made it because you were behind them every step of the way. They'll remember, and that's enough.